Hello, and welcome to my third part in the Education Is series. Today I'm doing Education is a Life. We did Education is an Atmosphere and Education is a Discipline. And these are based on the ideas of Charlotte Mason, who was a Victorian era educator that I absolutely love. And so today we're talking about education being a life. And atmosphere kind of covered like the routine aspect of life, and discipline covered the habits atmosphere part of life. And so it's kind of like what's left. I thought a lot about what there was to say, and I wasn't really sure what the right thing to say was. So I guess I just thought, it's the last aspect of her three-pronged approach. And so it kind of shows that education doesn't really fit into boxes. It doesn't begin and end at a fixed point in time, because it's not a curriculum you're going to try, and it's not enrolling in a new school or anything like that. Instead, education is, it's all around those people who think. Charlotte said self-education is the only education. And what she meant by that was that a person who's able to look around and learn something, so somebody who's awake, really, is an educated person. And so, therefore, education is a life. It's a simple, steady, and constant journey in a messy and complex world. One way we can incorporate this idea into our home is by making all of life a part of our education. Unlike the homeschooling community, we Charlotte Mason people are intentional about this. I'm not saying that unschoolers are not intentional, but unschoolers are typically not intentional. There's nothing child-led about a Charlotte Mason education. It takes preparation, and the parents, who we feel are entrusted with the authority to lead by example, both in word and in deed, are called and equipped by grace to intentionally guide the children towards wisdom and virtue. So we give our children chores and practical work, and they are part of their education. We help and we guide them in the selection of good books. We're not like forcing good books on them, but we're making good books available to them, and we're always kind of like guiding them both with our own example and with the things that we provide for them and make available to them. We pray with them and we pray for them. We work hard and we do better so that we inspire them. And we give precedence to our duty as educators. We give precedence to reading good books ourselves and to taking time to go out into the great outdoors and to do practical work in the building of good habits. We hear a lot, people saying like, I'm not an outdoor person, but I want to do a Charlotte Mason education. Well, you are going to have to become an outdoor person. You're going to have to change your life. In essence, we need to change our lifestyle so that it reflects less a culture of entertainment and leisure and more a culture of education and the pursuit of beauty. Because children's habits begin with their parents, we've answered the call to change first ourselves. We believe in discipleship, and it forms the culture of life that flows through our home. A Charlotte Mason home stands out in the community as a resting place full of seekers of truth, beauty, and goodness. And if you're a Christian or a Catholic, you'll find that this fulfills in a powerful way the missionary vocation of the domestic church, or the church at home. Before I started this video, I asked on Facebook if there was anything anybody wanted to have me cover, and the two immediate answers that I got were talk about television and talk about consistency. And I love that because television is a huge struggle for a lot of people. When I first got married, I remember being like, oh my gosh, are we going to watch TV? Are we not? Are we going to have one? What are we going to do? And, honestly, like we have this like huge box thing. It looks nothing like all your fancy flat screen TVs. We have this huge box thing, and it's ugly and enormous, and it is in our living room, and yeah, Mom would like to throw it out, but I don't. And my husband really enjoys watching television, like most of your husbands, and so they watch a lot of TV in this house, and I used to panic about it. But eventually it kind of I realized two things. Number one, kids are going to learn from television. So I give it the same approach that I give reading. We talk about twaddle, which is the word that Charlotte Mason used to describe books that were just kind of crap, garbage books that we don't read. We don't need to read, that do nothing for kids. And so I decided to take that approach to television. We don't watch twaddle. So anything that's I mean, and you know, there's like entire channels out there that are allegedly educational. Nickelodeon, I'm looking at you, that are not educational. They're just garbage. They're total candy for the eyes. And so we just avoid that stuff. And yeah, they still see it at the neighbor's house. And do I worry about it? No, because that's fine. But when they're here, education is a life. And so I intentionally provide them with shows and movies and things that will make them grow in their pursuit of truth, beauty, and goodness. Do we watch too much TV? Yes. Yes. Yes, we do. And I don't think that that's entirely my fault. But I do think that it becomes really easy, you know, to just plop somebody down in front of the TV when you need to clean something or whatever. So, I mean, you know, it's helpful. It's a tool. Use it as a tool. But yeah, like they'll spend, you know, a little bit in the morning, a little bit at noon, and a little bit at night usually. And when they do that, I always make sure that they're watching something worthwhile. So that's television. And I honestly just I don't want you guys to panic that, oh my gosh, my kids are watching TV. We learn a lot from TV. One of the struggles I do have is that they watch the movie sometimes before they read the book. Like we had that issue with Robin Hood, just one that comes to mind. It's frustrating because you do want them to like really get into the book. And if they already know the movie really well, they sometimes don't. So, you know, exercise caution with that. But I mean, you can't really control everything. So, you know, why panic about it? If they watched Robin Hood, then you know what? Just get really excited about reading the book and maybe they'll get excited about it too. But education is a life, right? So you want them to be excited about Robin Hood, however you need to get there. Television, it can be a really good tool. So you've got television, and then the other question was about consistency. If education is a life and it's a lifestyle, I mean, like again, we always say Charlotte Mason is not a cult, but it's a cult because people are like, oh my gosh, we started, you know, Charlotte Mason education in our house, and all of a sudden, like, everybody's doing the same thing, and we're all, like, frantically emailing each other about, you know, art and classical music, and, oh my God, look at this bug, and we get so excited, and it's great, and I love to see that, and that's why I love my girlfriends, because we do that, and it's weird, and nobody else does it, but it is a lifestyle. It is a change in the way that you live. I was raised this way, so it's not weird for me. I was raised by educators, and classical education was my life. None of this is foreign to me. It was my upbringing was amazing, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But not everybody was raised this way. So for a lot of people, this is a huge divergence in their, like, normal everyday life. I've seen women, I swear, just go through like a 6-month trial in which they have to learn to be able to go outside. And I know that's like, I'm not making fun of you, but it's terribly sad that we've gotten to this state where like human beings feel bad about being outside. Like nature is amazing. So it's beautiful that they're making these efforts. Education is a life. You're going to have to make these efforts. You cannot really pick and choose. Like, I'm going to go after truth, beauty, and goodness, but I'm going to leave out anything outside, and I don't really like classical music. I mean, you could, but you'd be lying to yourself. I'm going to talk about the world, but I'm not going to teach, you know, world religion. No. I'm going to teach geography, but again, I'm not going to go outside. Like what? I mean, you cannot really pick and choose. You have to sort of like, as she said, give them this feast of ideas in front of them so that they can just like stick their face in it and just grab from it. And so you're going to have to do these things that make you uncomfortable, whatever they might be. You might not be a musical person, but you're going to have to learn music. You might not be into languages, but you're going to have to learn languages. You may not get excited about art, but you're going to have to learn about art. And you may not want to avoid twaddle on your TV, but you're going to have to if you want your kids to learn something from the television and to emulate you. So, and I'm a mom, like, remember, I deal with this every day. So I see, like, in my own kids, the things that irritate me the most about my children are the things that they do that I know are bad habits that I have. Let them show me those parts of them. And I'm just like, oh no, because that's the thing that we want to get rid of. Well, Charlotte Mason makes this easy path towards truth, beauty, and goodness, and helps us to get rid of these things that we just don't really need anyways. Everything about what she taught really boiled down to this idea that there are good things out there and we should be reaching for those things and not wasting our time with anything else. And, things change and time goes by and all this, and the things that she was into, might be a little bit different from the things that we're into today. But I assure you that the challenge to change your lifestyle so that it becomes about the pursuit of truth, beauty, and goodness, you cannot go wrong there. There is no way that you could tell me that there is a negative side effect of changing your life in order to provide your kids with that. And that is what an education is. So consistency, really means not getting off the wagon. I recently had, I guess what we want to call a little, I'll admit it, I had a little midlife crisis, quarter life crisis thing. My husband pointed out that if it was really a quarter life crisis, it would have happened when I was 25 and not 35, because he's nice like that. But I had one because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm old, I'm useless now, like what am I doing with my life? I have all these dreams, unattainable, and all these different things, and I just freaked out. And so one of the things that I did was I started listening to music I liked when I was 16. I really did this. And dressing like I did when I was 16. And I'm still going to do it because it makes me happy. But the thing is, as I was kind of going through this, I went from listening to happy Catholic music all day to being I really like Wu-Tang. And so I was listening to stuff in my kitchen while I was doing my dishes and everything, and my kids were kind of like, Mommy, what are you doing? And I admit that it was kind of strange at first, it was a little bit of a freak out there. But what I realized is that, that's okay. There is nothing wrong with being happy and enjoying your music and all this stuff. But what I realized was that they really do form themselves on what I'm into. So when Mama brought out her leopard print high heels, these kids, the little girls were like, hey, where's my high heels? And when Mama started listening to rap while she was doing the dishes, they were like, hey, what's this? And so I had to bring back the classical music and be really intentional about that, because you know what I want, and not just the classical, but and the Gregorian chants and the hymns and all the amazing Eastern music that we listen to, because I want them to grasp that the world is much bigger than all of these just entertainment industry type things that we do. My phone is ringing, so I'm going to let you guys go. I think that was probably helpful. Consistency is just meaning we need to just keep doing what we're doing and continue with it and not give up. And if you do give up, start over again. Thanks. Bye.